Holy crap. School's Out is 50 years old.
And not just any episode of Bog Panda, but it's our annual Halloween spectacular lead in to the even more spectacular Halloween spectacular.
Bog Panda.
Hi, everybody. This is Kelly. Welcome to Bog Panda. I'm at KELLYTHUL on Twitter and Instagram. It's an interesting way to start. Sorry. With me, as always,
I am Dr. Mike, at Official Pagan on everything. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, leave a comment, go pick up a Soda Cuck t-shirt, come back, watch another video, like that video, leave comments on that video, watch some of the shorts. The shorts seem to be doing well. You guys like those? Go rewatch all of them.
right? Minimal investment of time and you get a daily pun. What can possibly be wrong? A huge reason you'd want to subscribe to the channel, I think.
Absolutely. It doesn't make sense to not subscribe at this point.
Well, you're leaving pun money on the table right there because they're totally free. But tonight, as I mentioned in the intro, Alice Cooper's very awesome original Alice Cooper group's very awesome Schools Out album is 50 years old. Uh, his stuff seems to hold up pretty well. Kind of stands the test of time. Pretty awesome. Uh, to celebrate that, a group called Fantoons has put together a number of offerings that you may want to go check out soon because at least two of them that I know of are in very limited release. And I'm not so sure on the Where is Alice, which is like a Where is Waldo comic book. But the three things that they're offering are a Where is Alice comic book, a la Where is Waldo. Um, with that, you receive a free empty Feed My Frankenstein cereal box that is 5 inches by 3.5 inches by 2. So it's like the little mini cereal boxes, but pretty clever looking. Looks actually really awesome. And then two prints celebrating Schools Out. Uh, one of which is get primarily red in tone. They're the same graphic image, but the coloring's a little bit different. One's red. One they're calling kind of neon. The red one, both posters are 24 inches by 18 inches. The red one lists for $55, and there's 50 of those available. And the neon one there's only 30 available, and it's going to clock in at 75. So a bunch of cool stuff. All looks really good. Of those offerings, Mike, any of those catching your eye?
I think the Where's Alice thing is clever and fun. I'm really torn on the cereal box thing. So I am a giant fan of cereal, and I don't just mean the food, like the actual boxes and things like that. Because that was, I guess, as a kid, probably the first thing that was specifically marketed to me that I can think of would be cereal. So cereal always had, these great fictional characters on the boxes, like Batman and the Ninja Turtles and Michael Jordan, all of these fictional characters that were on the front of these boxes.
Yeah, because he
he,
was Space
he,
Jam.
he was in Space Jam. That's not real.
He's fake. Yeah, I get you.
So it was all these things that were, it was the first things that were kind of marketed to me. And I'm a gigantic fan of the General Mills monster cereals, the characters and the cereals themselves. One of my biggest accomplishments in life was helping to create something that became a cereal, because for me that kind of brought everything full circle, where it's something that's being marketed to the next generation of kids growing up watching horror and fantasy and sci-fi and stuff like that. So for me that was a huge thing. I was like, this is amazing. I'm like Batman or Scooby-Doo or Michael Jordan or some other made-up character. Like I got to put something into that same pantheon. where I'm disappointed in this, because this would be such a cool thing as an Alice fan and as a cereal box fan, a cool thing to have. I'm disappointed it's not a real cereal box
Yeah, with cereal.
with cereal. Yeah. So the Evil Bong cereal is cereal. Like that was an actual cereal that was released.
What was the flavor?
It's similar to Cookie Crisp. It's not exactly the same, but it's a chocolate chip cookie cereal.
I would have thought you would have gone more with like a pizza and nachos flavor or something.
I wasn't consulted. I have no say in that kind of stuff. I did promote it when it came out, but I have no say in that kind of stuff. And it was actually originally I have no idea on the numbers on things like that because I don't get paid for that. It's just something they license and put that stuff out. But I don't know what the numbers are, but originally it was supposed to be like a small limited run of them, and that cereal was around for years. So they just kept up in the license and printing it again and again and again. So it was a popular cereal.
Were the pieces shaped like evil bongs?
No, no. See, if I had any say in this, it would have had marshmallows in it. I come from the marshmallows and cereal generation, so
Yeah, and you were mentioning you were a big fan of the monster series.
yes.
Um, so flavor wise, I'm there. You know, in terms of I like me some blueberry, although I had one unpleasant incident at a football practice, having eaten too much blueberry before 2 days. Things didn't go well. But blueberry, Count Chocula, Frankenberry, and what's the Wolfman one called? I
The
don't.
Wolfman is Fruit Brute, and there's also Yummy Mummy.
There you go. So the least frightening monsters ever. You know, Blueberry was kind of Peter Lorre like kind of guy. Frankenberry was uh, not intimidating whatsoever, and Count Chocula just seemed like you could outsmart him. He kind of seemed, I don't know, kind of seemed a little Trumpy to me. I don't know,
Well, it
easily
was so
outwitted.
there's a great video that we'll have to, the link is down there for it. There's a great video that just came out that kind of goes into the history of the General Mills cereal monsters. And of course, not only do they bring them out every year, they used to be year round. When I was a kid, those were still around all year. They realized though that when they do a limited release just around the fall, they could sell more boxes than they do with it being on shelves all year, because millions of those boxes just fly off the shelves when they're limited edition each year that comes out. So they actually sell more boxes of cereal in the like 3 months that they're available than if they're available all year. But they license those characters out for all kinds of things now. They're on all different products, different types of food products now. They advertise, and of course there's figures and games and all kinds of stuff. A great, honestly, great board game of those characters. One of my all-time favorite board games, and it's not easy. Like I'm not sure it has to be directed at people my age and our age who grew up with those cereals, because I can't imagine a kid enjoying it at all. This complicated board game with those characters. I personally am particularly a big fan of Fruit Brute and Yummy Mummy, even though they're the least used of the
Kind of
characters.
the minor leagues of these. Yeah,
Yeah, most
second
people forget
tier.
they exist.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're the least used of the characters, but they are actually my favorite. Fruit Brute, I'm a huge fan of werewolves as just as monsters in movies. So Fruit Brute's probably my favorite aesthetically, but flavor wise, it's Yummy Mummy, which is orange creamsicle flavored. So flavor wise, that's my favorite
Yeah.
one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And had a few more laps around the track than you, so this will probably predate you. But Quisp and Quake were also another pair of cereals that were kind of the same ilk. They actually kind of combated each other, and I was Team Quisp 100%. Quake sucked. Team Quisp 100%. But
But like you were to what you were saying though, in that little video, they talk about how General Mills makes all this additional money now by licensing the characters out for all sorts of products. Um, they have very strict guidelines on the characters and how they're portrayed. that they present to these different companies that they have to abide by. And it is that the characters are kind of bumbling and not at all scary. That's a big part of it.
And some more stuff about Alice Cooper, since we're on the topic.
But I'm disappointed there's not an actual Alice Cooper cereal. So I'm very divided on that one.
Yeah, that is disappointing. But the box is clever. It's cute. Like 85% poison. So lots of neat little call outs into it. It's Feed Your Frankenstein. So looks pretty cool. So yeah, I'm gonna, and I kind of like to get the Where Is Alice activity book as well. Anyway, so that's $20, 19.99. So that's a little easier purchase for me to pull the trigger on right away than a really good looking print that I'm not sure where it would go up at this point in time, but it still looks pretty cool. But other related Alice news and going back to some original band news as well. Dr. Mike and I have covered for some time how excited we were all the way back at Welcome to My Nightmare when we started to see the reemergence of the original Alice Cooper group, Michael Bruce, Dennis Dunaway, Neil Smith. And so they were there. They showed back up again, some on Paranormal, and then Detroit Stories as well, where we all learned that Neil Smith sings like Fozzie the Bear, which was fairly interesting to me. Listen to that song and fight me on it. I'm pretty sure that's a Fozzie the Bear vocal. But apparently they've kind of stayed in touch and they've been doing it. And while I think, and you can kind of correct me if I'm wrong, but I think both of us were kind of pulling more for a true blue reunited band. Here's an album by us. Boom.
Right. So far, the closest to that we've gotten is the live album.
Yeah. Yeah. From the Asturf, which we will be doing a track by track review of some point down the road. So that was good, but that's not new material. That's
right.
Them cranking out what they do. And so we'd kind of been hopeful for a true blue Alice Cooper group reunion. Doesn't look like that's actually in the cards. It seems that Alice is going more with a put the songs in the bank. They'll kind of come up with something. They'll bring the folks together. So that's how they've appeared on now 3 albums. And apparently there are at least 12 more songs in the bank that they've got. So we'll be seeing how they pull out. It's always been interesting in the latter part here of Alice's career where it's pretty kind of organic how these albums come together and kind of who's on it and who's playing. And there's a little more almost like chemistry going on in terms of mixing different things together as opposed to when you were getting those concept albums from the original group or even his initial solo stuff that was really kind of honed in on there. These are a little more if you're getting a variety of writers, a variety of performers. No complaints because we, big fans of Paranormal, big fans of Detroit Stories. So the new approach is certainly good and it's Alice, so it's always awesome. But how are you kind of feeling about that? We're going to get more, but we're not going to get more kind of the way you and I wanted it.
So this is sort of like the cereal box. I'm getting something really cool that I want, but not the way that I want it. I really want an Alice Cooper group album. I get why they're doing it this way because it does make sense to kind of get as much material as you can and use that to build other albums around and things. So you're getting more out of it that way because now, say there's a 10-song album, he can take 2 or 3 Alice Cooper group songs, then he only has to write 6 or 7 with his whoever his band is at the time. And there's a new Alice Cooper album that's going to be appealing to both fan bases. Although I would imagine for most people, there's the complete crossover between Alice Cooper group and Alice as a solo artist, but you're getting both on there. So they're just trying to, put as many potential sales and as many potential ears on that as possible. So I get that. And by splitting it up, you get, Alice Cooper group reunion on every Alice album that'll ever come out now in his life. So I understand that why the way that it's being done that way. It's just not what I want. So just like the cereal box. Cereal box is awesome, especially as somebody who likes cereal boxes, but it'd be better if there was Alice Cooper cereal. So it's cool that we're gonna get at least 12 more Alice Cooper group songs, but like that's an album. Put out the album.
Yeah, and it kind of, we had a lot of excitement way back to Welcome to My Nightmare, but definitely for Paranormal as well. When we said, "Hey, there's Alice Cooper stuff here. There's Alice Cooper group stuff here," and it's kind of a big part of the release and all that. And now, if it kind of becomes the thing, it's like, oh yeah, and then there's a couple more Alice Cooper. It's no longer going to be a surprise or that special. It's still great, but it is an empty cereal box a little bit. So, but again, first world problem. Not really
Oh yeah.
going to complain. It's just like someone's going to give me free software on my Evercade. I'm not gonna complain. But it would have been nice to have a dedicated Alice Cooper group album. But I'll take it anyway. We can get them back together. It's been good stuff that has been, and it's just going to mean more Alice Cooper albums. We still will wait and see. Somewhere before the end of 2022, or definitely in 23, we're getting at least one, maybe two Alice albums. So, and that's not counting the live from the AstroTurf stuff. So it's going to be new stuff. So we'll have to kind of see how all that works out.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's kind of an empty cereal box, but that's really nitpicky of us at the same time, as you already pointed out, because we're getting, more Alice stuff, more Alice Cooper group stuff. So we're getting exactly what we want, just not the way we would prefer to have it presented to us.